I ain't figured it out, but we're just gonna chill here now. So I saw that the vertical plugin had. Okay, I might be able to do. Oh, but I don't have the multi out now. Yeah, we're just gonna not have to not do Twitch today. So I saw that the vertical plugin, which is what I use to multi-stream, it had an update. So I was like, okay, I'll install that, and maybe that'll work. And instead, once I install the update, now fucking OBS crashes on launch. So don't know what that's about. But the problem is that I found the solution after that. I realized I was not. I just needed to copy and paste the fucking Twitch ingest server that I needed to use and to plug in order to use it. But yeah, no, I can't do that. But I believe we're good now. I switched to, so a lot of you guys were having lagging problems. I was trying out AV1 streaming, which is using a new format. I say new, it's new to me. I was using a new format called AV1 to stream, and it was it might be what it was lagging everybody. I don't know if your devices shouldn't have issues decoding it, but it could have been a decoding issue. I don't know. I wasn't dropping any frames. I wasn't dropping any bit rate. Everything was good on my end, it seemed, at least. But yeah, for you guys that missed it, reason I couldn't get OBS to connect was I closed out of OBS to update the vertical plugin, which is the name of the plugin that I use to multi-stream to Twitch. I closed out of OBS to update it because it said it had an update. I was like, maybe that'll fix it. Instead, when I updated it, I opened OBS and OBS immediately closed. It's like, so then I was like, fine. So I closed out of I opened OBS up in safe mode, which is what we're doing now. Yeah, it's working now. So essentially the live plugin for whatever, or the vertical plugin for whatever reason is crashing OBS whenever I open it. And the problem was I found the solution after I updated it. So all I needed to do was copy and paste Twitch's ingest server, which I had not added. I left that thing blank. But yeah, I was supposed to indicate that I wanted to connect to the Dallas server, and I didn't do that. Yeah, I guess we just aren't going to stream to Twitch today because I don't have time to troubleshoot all that. But anyway, you know, this is take one, I guess. Anyways. Second best time to plant trees now. That is true, Simon. Yes, membership renewal messages are in fact a thing. And membership renewal fucking alerts are a thing as well. Although that was fucking insanely loud. I don't know if that was loud for anybody else. What's up, random? Doing good. All the scenes ended up where my normal scenes were? That's fucking sus. I don't even know how that would happen. I went ahead and made a new scene collection just in case, though. And also because my other scene collection was like messy as all hell. I was like, I'll just keep what works, get rid of what doesn't. Then made Twitch variations of all the scenes. But anyways, I stayed up till 2:30 in the morning last night doing all that just for fucking technical issues to fuck us. I wonder if the... So now, hold on. Help. Log files. Show log files. Let's see. 455, 455, 455. This is my current one. I'm guessing this one. Yeah, all of the log files, none of them show what happens at the crash. They just like cut off randomly. Strange. Anyways. I am too, D-Rock. It's good to be back. But anyways. I'm like a different person since the last time y'all saw me. I've been all around Europe. Built a new PC. I've got like an entirely new setup in here. You can't see it. None of it's on screen, but I've got a CRT as my fourth monitor now. It's not really, I don't really use it as a monitor, but it's hooked up to the PC so I can run emulators through it. See, I appreciate that, Carter, except that I didn't really intend for it to be super motivational. You know, like motivation is something that's like so fleeting and so like, I mean, like, I guess, you know, I put in the challenge at the end to like, you know, challenge people to get you know, a fire lit under their ass. So I guess there was intention to motivate there, but like everybody who leaves comments that are like, yeah, this is so motivating. I'm so motivated after watching this. I always just get this sense of like, yeah, but like that's, you know, that will fade eventually. Like that motivation will go away after a little, or not go away, but will be spent, you know. Motivation is like money or like gas, you know. You have to like expend it. And then you don't have it anymore. And that's rough. That can be real rough. I need to bring my hair light much closer because it's like across the room now and it's not really doing its job, I guess. Oh yeah, I guess that does make quite a bit of a difference, but still. Yeah, it's all about getting the momentum started. The Sonic 3 video is going to be about the flow state. I'm just going to drop that for all y'all wondering. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've experienced, like, there's not really a name for it that I know of. Or I guess it's just a certain perspective. But I kind of feel like there's different kinds of flow states, or like different... There's like macro flow states and there's micro flow states. Like when people talk about the flow state, they're talking about like the micro flow state. They're talking about like the feeling of like getting into a flow when you're like working on a task, you know, and like, or like when you're playing a video game and like you get it, you like log in, you like start the video game or you start the task and then you like enter the flow state and then like things happen, right? That's like the flow state as we know it. But then there's also like a long-term like life, like the flow of your life, you know? And that's related to the ideas of Dharma, I guess. Because like Dharma is supposed to be like things that make that flow, you know, flow more, and be more flowy. But there's like this, I've experienced this like long-term flow where like once you like are waking up at a decent hour and going to bed at a decent hour and you're eating well and you're sticking to a solid schedule with like work and have a solid social life balance, work and social life balance, you start to enter this flow where like it compounds, right? It compounds onto the flow state. It compounds onto like everything you've got going on in your life. And that can be even more valuable than like individual flow states, and it can like cultivate individual flow states. And like, I don't really see that talked about anywhere. I mean, yeah, people talk about like having a schedule is good and all, but like nobody really talks about how it relates to flow in that way, you know. So I'm gonna explore probably that idea, but anyways, the reason I bring that up is because I was really knocked out of my flow. Problem with having ADHD is that when you're knocked out of your flow like that, it can be extremely difficult to get back in, which you guys know because I've talked about it quite a bit. But I was doing well. I was rocking and rolling. I was getting like weekly uploads out. And then I, decided to build my new PC. And that was kind of a disruption, but then I immediately went on vacation. And that like completely threw me off the horse. Like now I've really fucked it up. Not to say it wasn't worth it for the vacation, but and for the travel, but it's definitely taken me a minute to get back into the swing of making videos, streaming, things like that. So I decided to finally buckle in yesterday. Get OBS figured out, get OBS set up to stream again with a new fresh setup that's simplified and streamlined. I fucking utterly failed apparently, since we can't get Twitch up and running, but that was the idea. So this is kind of a dry run, and now that I know where the mistakes were made, we can fix it for next time, and that's all right. But anyways, yeah, I've been to Europe now, chat. I didn't really talk about it much because I don't know. I it's not good to publicly talk about going on vacation before you do so, or traveling, because then people like know that your house is empty and shit. Among other things. But yeah, I took a trip with a girlfriend and her family, and we fucking went across Europe. We started in Rome, and then we went to Munich, and then we ended in Paris, and then flew back to the States. It was fucking wild. We had a bunch of tour guides and shit. We saw all the like different historical places. We took day trips to like different places. We took a day trip to the Vatican. Took a day trip to motherfucking this fucking castle in the middle of the Bavarian Alps. We fucking took a day trip to Normandy, which, as it turns out, is not just beaches. You wouldn't know it in the way people talk about it, but so we like passed through Austria in the Bavarian Alps. So I like visited like 6 different cities in 5 different sovereign countries, or sovereign city states, country/city states, I guess. Saw a lot of cool shit. Got a lot of history lessons of like the birth of fascism. was pretty interesting stuff. It was a little weird to build a new PC and then immediately leave for like 10 days. It definitely made it harder to get everything set up. Cause like I got a bunch of stuff set up. Cause as you guys know, I've got like, 18 different fucking programs I use to make content on a daily basis. I've got music apps and graphic design apps and OBS and DaVinci Resolve and all my presets and all of my workflows. And transferring it all over was difficult, to say the least. It was a process. And the problem was as I left for 10 days in the middle of the process. So it took a while when I came back to be like, okay, this is what needs done. This is what remains needing to be done. This is what's already done. But we're set up now. So I think with OBS finally being set up, I think I have pretty much everything converted and transferred over. FL Studio set up. All my music plugins are set up. That was probably the hardest thing. And I put it off for a while. It was one of the last things I did. But setting up FL Studio with because a lot of, if you guys don't know, a lot of audio plugins and music plugins, they're real sticklers because piracy is so rampant in like the audio production space that you've got to like have like different license keys, and they're tied to your IP address, and and that's tied to your machine, and then it's tied to fucking your account, and like there's like no way to like transfer, no way to simply and easily transfer programs from one machine to another. Even though I literally transferred the hard drives over, it still was like, no, this is a different machine, so you have to buy a new license. And I was like, and it was like, or you can log into the last machine and deactivate your old license. And I was like, So then it's a whole process of getting on with support and getting on with everything and getting your license figured out. Pain in the ass. But it's done now. So, damn, I forget how hot it gets as soon as I start streaming. What? Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Whew. Anyways, that's what's new with me. That's basically the summation of my life the last couple weeks. How about you, chat? Use a Roku as a second monitor. How does that even work? I graduated college. Yo, shout outs, Will. How much privacy do you think that actually prevents? I bet it promotes it, honestly. Because there's definitely a couple of plugins where I was like, I could just fucking... I could just fucking download a crack more easily than I could fucking... I HDMI it in as a second display. Do I know what a Roku is? Like, is it like a Roku TV? Like, because like I've got our Roku is like little thing that you connect to the TV, Roku TV. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense. But anyways, no, a lot of people probably. I know of people who pirate software that does that shit out of principle. Just as they don't even probably use it. They're just like, nah. Just to say fuck you. This is so. I don't know why this hasn't updated. This should be the Sonic CD cover instead of the Sonic Mania cover. But oh well. That is kind of wild, Will. That's kind of crazy to think about. 5 years since I became an affiliate. Twitch let me know when I was setting things up the other night, or last night. It was like, hey, your affiliate versary was May 31st of 2019. So for 5 years, I've been doing this shit. 3 of which have been full-time, which is kind of nuts to think about. Especially when I was going so much harder in some ways. Depending on how you look at it. I was going so much harder the first 2 years than the last year. Than the last 3, honestly. Now all of that pales in comparison to what popped off in just the last couple months, but even still, that's the nature of the beast, right? I have now 1 video about DaVinci Resolve on a not DaVinci Resolve focused channel that has more views than my entire DaVinci Resolve channel combined. That's YouTube for you. See, now it has the Sonic CD now playing. Anyways, yeah, I finally set this up. I can actually show it to you. So if I replay this. Didn't play. I think it's because I didn't set it up correctly. Here we go. Doesn't pull the name for some reason. But it works. Someone. Very few people actually tie their names to their. So I need to add the alert to this box. I forgot. But now we got fourth wall integrated alerts and stream elements. So that's pretty sick. It doesn't really work with my alert format very well because it doesn't tell you like I don't have it set up to tell you like what they bought or what the attached message was, but that's okay. I prefer the simple alerts and I prefer it being in line with everything else. I haven't found the energy to redo all of my alerts once again yet, so I gotta say though, rendering these new alerts out, I'm very appreciative that I got this new graphics card and this new computer. Because let me tell you, it used to be that little animation, that little 8 seconds of animation, in order to render it out with transparency, it used to take upwards of like 16 minutes. That's what my render in OBS or in Resolve, the render bar, said it took. A lot of those renders were like 16 minutes. The render for that one, with my now updated with Resolve's optimizations that have come out, and with my new graphics card, 1 minute. Do you have any advice for creators who want to make a video on something but don't feel like they have the know-how? I don't know if your Sonic videos covered this specific fear for creators. That depends. What do you mean by don't have the know-how? Are you trying to make like... Are you trying to make a tutorial that you don't know how to do it yet? Or are you like... You want to make a good game, you want to make like a gaming video but don't feel like you know how to video edit. Like those are two totally different problems, right? So like if you can give me some more information, I might be able to help you. Okay, so you are back. We'll probably save from the unsubscribe clear out when I get around to it. What does that mean, Philip? Ranger, last couple of videos kind of about the same subject and found them very uplifting. Thank you so much. Hi from Uruguay. I've not seen a hi from Uruguay. Hello to Uruguay. Thanks for commenting, Dennis. I'm digging the on-screen chat. It's working pretty well. I do need to probably move it up a little bit because it's getting a little bit cut off at the bottom, but... meaning that I've uploaded, so now I've been spared the unsubscribe. Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm working on I recorded a video. So I wrote a video and I recorded the voiceover for it before I left on vacation, and now I've got to film it. And it's probably my most ambitious like filming project in a really long time. A really long time, in fact. I'm starting to like bust out different camera angles and shit to make my videos more engaging and to enhance the storytelling. So I've been dragging my feet on getting that going, but I'm gonna have some time to work on that in the next couple of days, maybe this weekend. And then once all the filming is done, honestly, the editing is just kind of gonna do itself. Just kind of dragging shit into place, you know. So and then after that we'll have it'll be time for the Sonic 3 video, so I'll be getting on that. I'm still having to workshop titles for that video, because like it's right now it's kind of about the flow state, but and why the flow state is cool. And why, like, people kind of already think flow state is cool, but, like, flow state's even cooler than people think. So, like, I don't know what I'm going to title that video. Maybe the flow state is still underrated or something like that. Like, for example, making a mostly political video, even though all the videos you've made so far are about analyzing entertainment. Is this a mental problem, or do I need to do more research problem? Again, that's still kind of hard to say. I would definitely say, you know, do as much research as possible, especially if you're going to be talking about something like politics, you know, right? I don't talk about politics in my videos, because when it's a video, then I'm like on the hook for dumb shit I say, right? I'll talk about politics on stream all day, every day, until my entire fucking viewer base is alienated. Only because, like, if I say it on a live stream, it's like, oh, you know, that's just what I said at the time, right? Versus, you know, a YouTube video is kind of like permanent. It's like, no matter when somebody watches it, it's like they're watching it. It's like I'm saying that then, you know? It's just kind of different in a weird way. And so I would definitely be careful. But the answer is it's a mental problem that you think is a research problem, and it will be a research problem until you realize it's a mental problem. Essentially, the confidence does not come from whether or not you know enough. Learning more will help you convince yourself that you know enough, but it will not make the decision that you know enough for you, if that makes sense. You can research as much as you possibly can, but you could research for the rest of your life on a topic and still not feel qualified to talk about it. You know what I mean? One day you're just going to have to say, I've done enough research. Here's the information. And then there's dumbasses who just like turn on the hit record, say whatever they fucking think, and then hit publish and never fucking give it a second thought. And a lot of those people have far too big audiences and far too much influence. What do you recommend for someone just getting started, doesn't have proper equipment as far as a camera or microphone? Use your phone. If you've got a smartphone of basically any kind that's come out in the last 5 years, you have a perfectly capable camera and microphone in your pocket. As far as like... So as far as camera goes, absolutely use your phone. Put your phone on a tripod. Get a $15 thing that will attach your phone to your desk, whatever. There's free programs that connect your phone to OBS to do live streams. Like you can do basically everything with a phone. As far as audio goes, I do suggest probably upgrading from your phone's like built-in microphone as soon as possible. But as far as early stages of using a microphone, like audio equipment, getting a solid audio production is cheaper than ever. You know, I have a $400 microphone plugged into a $400 interface on a $100 microphone arm. You don't need that. You don't need it. You need it to sound like this. Honestly, not even that probably. Get a Go XLR Mini instead of a Go XLR. Get a Beacon mic instead of any of this, honestly. But yeah, I would probably look at the Beacon microphone. It's like $200, $300, something like that. A little pricey, but it's worth it. Sounds very similar to a SM7B, but has all the EQ and compression and stuff built into it, and it's all software based, so very solid. But you can also do things like just get a simple lav mic. There's pretty solid lav mics on the market now. Just kind of do some shopping. Not even shorts. You can make full-on videos on a smartphone. Now, the editing, you'll probably want to move your footage onto a full-on, computer. But yeah, I think the risk there is spreading misinformation, right? When it comes to something like politics. But yeah, if you feel like you haven't done enough research, do more research. And if you do a lot of research and you still don't feel qualified, but you're like, what other research is there to do? Then like, that's a feeling that's just fear. Like that's just being afraid to put yourself out there, and that you just need to just do it, Hashtag. Don't think, just do. I wish there were better kind of advice than that, but There's things like make simpler videos first. I've definitely done that before, where I've had like an idea for a big video and I've been kind of intimidated by it. So it's like, well, what if I like make a smaller video of like a similar type as like a proof of concept first. So making like a shorter and simpler political video about a not controversial topic, for example. I don't know. Hello, Guy on Rocks. Hello, Spin on Trash. This song smacks. That's definitely something I've fallen back on in the past. Sometimes when I get out of the habit of making videos and when it's been a while since I've made a video, it feels really intimidating to get back into it. Especially into my like more produced videos and my higher production quality videos. And that was actually what that Sonic video was about, or what it was for. That you should be a YouTuber video. It was like it was essentially like I wrote down all these thoughts. I'm gonna compile them into a script, and then record a video with them of me just like playing Sonic, and it's gonna take me like an hour to edit. And I'm just going to post that. And that's going to help me get back in the swing of making videos. And boy, did it. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Good morning to Japan, I'm guessing. My secret to wealth and fame. Why would you assume a broke nobody has a secret to wealth and fame? A secret to wealth, have a rich daddy. A secret to fame, have a famous daddy. True. That's the simplest way to do it. Thinking of going back into YouTube, don't want to lose motivation like I always do. Any advice? There is no possible way to avoid losing motivation. That's like saying I want to That's like saying I want to drive across the country, but I don't want to I don't want to walk, spend any money on public transportation, or expend any gas in my vehicle. It's like it's like physically impossible. Like you have to get from point A to point B somehow. And for getting into creative projects, you have to like expend motivation to get there. Because like we were talking about earlier, motivation's like a resource that like you have to exchange to like get results. So that is actually that conversation is deeper than just do it. Because a lot of people are like, well, how do I do something when I'm not motivated to do it? And like that's the $1 million question. It's literally about transcending motivation. It's about transcending the idea of motivation. You've got days that are motivated. You're gonna have days that you're motivated, and like those are days like you want to take advantage of best you can. Don't pass those days up. But the idea is to build systems and build like build a life and build an environment and engineer your brain to not be dependent on the motivation. Because the problem is when you follow your motivation, you're actually training your brain to not follow the motivation when you're not motivated, if that makes sense. So, put more simply, like, there are days where I'm super motivated and I jump out of bed and I go and I start working on videos, right? Or I come up with a new video idea and that gets me super motivated and I start like pouring all my energy into making this video, right? And then there are days when I wake up in the morning and there's a really cool YouTube video that just came out that's 3 hours long, and I literally put it on and I spend an hour and a half laying in bed because, of course, I watch videos at two times speed. I spent an hour and a half just laying in bed watching this video. And it's like, well, I'm very motivated to watch that video. It's not that I'm not motivated to work necessarily. It's just that I'm more motivated to watch the video. And, you know, and that's what depression is. Depression isn't a lack of motivation necessarily. It can be a lack of motivation. And that's a way it can manifest. But depression for me has always manifested as a motivation to do nothing, which is different from a lack of motivation in a very, very, very meaningful way. So the idea is transcend motivation. You do something whether you are motivated or not. So train your brain to do things that you're not motivated to do, but also train things to not do things you are motivated to do. So for example, there are days when I'm super, super motivated and I just want to work myself to death. And my girlfriend has to be like, hey, come cook dinner, come spend time with me, come chill, come relax for a little bit. And I'm like, oh, but I want to work. I want to do all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, but like, you need a break. And I'm like, you're right. And so actually taking some of my energy away from those days helps me to then on the days that I'm not motivated, it helps my brain say, okay, even though I'm not motivated, I got to do what I got to do. And so it's about teaching your brain to do things whether or not you are motivated to do them. It's the same thing. It's just like going to the gym. People. It's like, how do I get motivated to go to the gym? It's like, well, you get motivated to go to the gym by, being unsatisfied with your body. Watching a bunch of workout videos, seeing like the before and after gains that people have. Sitting and thinking about how great it would be to go to the gym. Those motivate you to go to the gym. If you actually ask somebody who goes to the gym every day, hey, how do you get motivated to go to the gym? They aren't going to have like an answer ready to go. They're not going to be like, well, every day I wake up and I give myself my affirmations that going to the gym is worth it. No matter how much I don't want it, I got to keep doing it. And I listen to Kobe Bryant give me pep talks. No, it's just like, well, I wake up and then like I go to the gym. Like that's what I do. Like that's how I live my life. Like that's what I do. It's like going to the bathroom. It's like, how do I get motivated to use the toilet when I pee? It's like I pee in the toilet. That's what I do. Like you don't have to be motivated to do that. Going to the gym, same thing. As somebody who struggles with working out and doesn't work out nearly often enough. That's how you go to the gym. Is you treat it like you treat going to the gym in the morning the same way you treat going to the restroom. It's just something that you do because you do it. Like that's just what you do. Like it's not about the motivation. It's not about getting motivated. Getting motivated helps you set up that, you do have to motivate a kid when they're being potty trained, right? To use the toilet. But after that, it's like second nature. Gym is the same way. Get motivated at the beginning, then you just make it part of your nature. Anyways, a lot of you guys had a lot of questions during that. So Malaysia, 6:30 a.m. Yo, shout outs to Malaysia. Thanks for stopping in. Do you think AI is going to take all jobs in 5 years? Here's the thing. When I was a freshman in college, which was 9 years ago, I did so I guess it would have been 8 years ago. It was my spring semester. 8 years ago, I did a paper called AI is going to take over the world. And in it, I talked about self-driving cars, putting truckers out of business, or self-driving vehicles, putting truckers out of business. Replacing taxis, replacing Uber. And in that paper, I said something very interesting. Very interesting to me now. Very interesting going back. I said entertainment was going to be the last frontier of AI and automation. I was like, music, comedy, YouTube videos, those are the careers of the future, because those are not going to be replaced with AI anytime soon. Then fucking ChatGPT comes around the corner and kicks me in the teeth. And it's like, actually, bud, that's what we're going to go for first. And here's the thing. Capitalism cannot sustain AI taking everybody's jobs. There will be cultural and political revolution before AI takes over everybody's job. It simply must. Because the thing is that people only have to freak out about AI and automation taking everybody's job when losing one's job is an existential crisis. And if we built an economy where automating away jobs was a good thing, actually, then like this stuff would explode and take off. But instead, we're doing things like fucking getting tech bros to make videos about automating fucking YouTube channels to get rich quick, and it's like, so the answer is no. And a lot of people who are on the bandwagon of AI is the future, they have something to sell you. Honestly, as somebody who has things to sell you now, I can say that. It's whatever. Let's see. Oh, Dennis actually said something interesting. Motivation is a tricky one because most of the times for me, the real motivation kicks in once you start doing the thing. Before may or may not be some hype, but once you start doing the thing, then the motivation comes in. This is absolutely true. An object in motion tends to stay in motion, right? This is very true of how our attention works. Even if you have ADHD, it's actually probably more true. When you're actually really concentrating on something, when you're really in the flow of something, it's really hard to move to doing something else. And so you become very motivated to say what you're doing. It's just like when you wake up in the morning, if you stay in bed for more than 10 minutes, you're probably going to stay in bed for an hour, right? If you wake up in the morning, you get up as soon as you wake up before you have any time to think about it. It's like, then it takes no motivation, right? Same thing when you go out to the pool. How many of you guys fucking, show of hands, like, show of hands, fucking, how many people when they go swimming, right? You get down, you strip down to your fucking bathing suit, and then you just run and you just jump into the water, right? You can be motivated to do that. You can have a lot of hype. But honestly, if you fucking start running towards the water and then you slow down, try this out. It's summer, so you can try this out. Try this out tomorrow. Or whenever the next time you can go into a pool is. Run towards the pool or run towards the lake or whatever it is. And then as you get closer to the pool, speed up and see what happens in your mind. And then actually do that second. First, run towards the pool and slow down as you get closer to the pool and see what happens. If you slow down as you get closer to the pool, you will absolutely stop before jumping in. And then you will second guess it. And then you will suddenly be like, water's gonna be really cold. I don't know if I want to do that. Am I right? Instead, if you run towards the pool and you speed up as you run towards it, then when you fucking yeet, you don't have time to think. Um, As a Sonic fan and comp sci major still in school, that video about you should be a YouTuber was absolutely magical. I think you spoke from the heart and really impacted me as a small YouTuber. Thank you. You're welcome, Deep Dish. When you were brainstorming ideas for your series of playing Sonic while talking philosophy, what were some video ideas topic you left on the cutting room floor? Oh shit. I don't know that I have any yet that I've left on the cutting room floor. I think every idea is planned for another video. So I have the Sonic 1, the Sonic 2. So I made the Sonic 1 without any like expectations. I made the Sonic 1. I didn't plan on making a series. I didn't plan on making like any sort of follow-up. I just want to make one video of like that type to like say something and then put it out there. And then when it blew up, it was like, okay, well now the expectation is I got to follow this up, right? And so immediately I began kind of like thinking about like, okay, well what's something else I could, you know, write however many 100 words on and rant about. And so I came up with Talent Doesn't Exist. And then I was like, okay, now I can see myself really coming up with a few ideas and tying them into the different games. So then Sonic CD became about ego. Sonic CD actually was a little bit difficult to work with. There were definitely some ideas there about like you can't change the past and things like that just like didn't really work out. Like I was like, nah, I don't really like, that's not the message I'm trying to give, and like that's like not helpful. And I also can't write just hundreds and hundreds of words on that. Let's see. But yeah, now I've got the Sonic 3 video. I actually have a different and Knuckles video planned. I think instead of doing Sonic 3 and then Sonic and Knuckles, I think I'll do Sonic 3 and Knuckles as Sonic for one, and then Sonic 3 and Knuckles as Knuckles for another. But the Knuckles video was like one of the first videos that I came up with for the series. So I've been sitting on that one for a while. And then I think I have a Sonic Mania video that is going to tie it all together. But then I still have some other ideas. Like I have an idea for one that could become an SRB2 video. A Sonic Robo Blast 2 video of the same style. And then the other day I even came up with one that could probably work for Sonic 3D Blast. So I don't know that I've left any on the cutting room floor so far. I think in reality, the more the ideas come to me, I figure out a way to make them fit the format. So Haya's like me. I also go in gradually to the pool. But it's definitely something where like, so when you go in gradually, it's a matter of being like, you know, you get to, there's like checkpoints, right? First you stick your toe in and you're like, oh, that's not so bad. And then you stick your entire foot in and you're like, ooh, that's pretty cold. And you're like, okay. Then you're pretty much good until you get up to your, you know, junk. And then it's like, okay, here we go. And then you get in like above your waist and you're good again until you get to around your titties. and then like once you can, honestly, the nipples are worse than the junk. And then you can notice the different levels of resistance for each like level of getting into the water up until your neck. What's the Sonic 06 one gonna be? I haven't played that one out. I haven't planned out that far, that's for sure. I've got Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, 3D Blast, Robo Blast 2, Mania. Those are the ones that are planned out. I've got like 5 more in me, I think. After that, I don't know. After that, I don't know if I will continue the series with different Sonic games, with different platformers, with different games. I think it's probably something I could turn into a regular series of talking about just more casual topics. and just playing games in a more casual way rather than having to. The first one, I wasn't even planning on necessarily completing the whole game as part of the video in the first one, and now that's just kind of become the tradition because the Sonic games are only like an hour long when you play them at my level. They're only like an hour and a half. So Sonic 06, how capitalism destroys art. That's not a terrible idea. Honestly. But honestly, I could see myself just like making those videos and instead of completing a game, just completing like an objective in a game, like beating a level in a longer game, you know? I could definitely do one to Metal Gear Solid. The different Metal Gear games, at least the first three. The first three Metal Gear Solids. Because those games are all about an hour and a half for me. That is true. But there's a lot of stuff that's touched on in the first video that I'm expanding upon. So that's not necessarily something that's going to keep me from it. You know, that's part of actually the point is to kind of keep you know, some cohesion. And that's what the Sonic Mania video is going to be about. You know, we're going to take, you know, we're going to connect, you know, things like the Sonic CD video about ego. We're going to connect that to how talent doesn't really exist, and why talent doesn't exist video is actually also all about ego. And how both of those are related to how you limit yourself creatively. Because it's all intertwined. That's what the Sonic Mania video is going to be about. I have no qualms telling you that. I'm gonna keep the and Knuckles video a secret. I already told y'all earlier in the stream the Sonic 3 video. I'm not gonna repeat it. You have to go back into the Neaterverse. But I've already got the Sonic 3 topic picked out. I've got the Knuckles video picked out, but I'm not gonna tell you what it's about. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna tie Knuckles into it. Also a live streamer, but on TikTok, my girlfriend just broke up with me yesterday. I'll pour one out for you tonight, boy. Sucks to hear. But keep on keeping on. It gets better, brother. Let me tell you. It gets better. My pleasure, Soy. Thank you for being encouraged. So my recent kind of material success in the YouTube realm and getting this like just flood of subscribers and flood of positive feedback from you guys, it has really just reinforced for me how detached I actually am from the whole process. I've always been, you know, I've watched inspiring things in my time, and I'm like, you know, this really, really inspired me. And then the person's like, no, I mean, you did all the work. I just, you know, it's really all you. I'm like, no, your shit inspired me. And now that I'm like somebody who's being told they inspire people, I'm like, yeah, no, it's all you guys. I get it now. Like, there are people who watch my shit and they're like, you are a fucking idiot. None of this makes sense. You're completely wrong. And then there's you guys. The difference is not my content. The difference is not what I said. They did not hear something different. They heard the same thing. The difference is in you guys. How each color of flicker represents a deadly sin. So, no, the 3D Blast one is going to be something like, I was thinking I was going to play the director's cut made by that Game Hut guy. That Game Hut guy, John Burton, the director of the game. So I figured I would play the director's cut, and I think I was going to talk about like probably like not abandoning your works, things like that. Not even sure. Like not abandoning your work, or like it's okay to abandon your work sometimes, or like I don't know, something along those lines. Like probably the philosophy of like bad games and like mediocre games. You're welcome, Soy. Game is like 6 hours. 3D Blast is actually not that long if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, it's shorter than Sonic 3. Tried to record a video on it once with a friend. It was so begrudging that we gave up halfway through and started playing Toy Story on the Super Nintendo. Which is funny because Toy Story was also developed by John Burton and them. Literally the same team. You're welcome, gamer. Is it Jalee? Is it Jay Lee? Gamer Jay Lee? Maybe? Well, you're very welcome, Jay Lee. But 3D Blast is 3D Blast and Heroes are both part of this unique set of games where, like, depending on the day, I either love them or I fucking can't stand them. Like, there are times when I've sat down and I've played, like, it literally happened on stream. I played Sonic Heroes on stream. Now version differences do play a part of this, because I played the PlayStation 2 version on stream. We played through Sonic Heroes, and part of it is that I had been playing a bunch of Sonic games before then. So we played like Sonic 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, Adventure 2. We got to Sonic Heroes on stream, and I was like, damn, this game is worse than I remember. Like, this game is infuriating. It's very hard to get through that game. And I was like, Sonic Heroes is no longer one of my favorite Sonic games. Like, it's dropped down in the rankings because this experience has been so bad. Then about a year later, I installed I played the GameCube version. Let's just say that. And I did so off stream. I did so without like anything else, like any other games or anything like changing my perspective, or like giving me something to like go off of. And I played it, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time. I had such a good time playing that game that I went on to 100% it, which I had never done before. I got all the A ranks, beat super hard mode, did all that. 3D Blast is the same way. There are times when I've sat down, I'm like, you know what? This game is actually really fun. And I've gone on to like get all the Chaos Emeralds, completely beat the game. And then there are times when I sat down to play 3D Blast, and it's like, wow, this game's boring as fuck. Of course, Soy. No need to apologize. We're here to talk about. We're not just here to just be like, oh, I make YouTube videos. Oh, I make YouTube videos. Oh, I also make YouTube videos. You know, like, it's not just a circle jerk in here. We're here. We're real people. We're allowed to be real people. Real people. Love your channel, but I can't stand Sonic games. That's okay, Johnny. It's not. You are my mortal enemy, but it's also okay. Yes, happy Juneteenth. Juneteenth, in fact. Like the part where I talked about YouTube videos for a long time. You know what? I fucking... Somebody left a comment the other day where they were like, oh, you're just like me, yada yada. You study computer science and you watch Game Grumps. And I was like, how the fuck did they know I watch Game Grumps? Like, and it took me until you just posted that. I was like, oh yeah, I did make that reference. Yeah. We put that in there. I normally make obscure ass references in my videos, and nobody fucking nobody knows what the fuck I'm talking about. So that threw me off. Ooh, Sonic Advance as well. Sonic Advance is one of those where it's like, if I sit down and play it, I'm like, ooh. Wait, that's a Game Grumps thing? Yes, it is. Yes, it's a Game Grumps thing. Yeah, there's one. I think it's Super Mario 64. It's a reference? I thought it was a thing for your stream. Yeah, no, guys, I've been making a Game Grumps reference this whole time. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's not my joke. There's like an episode of Super Mario 64. What was your favorite Game Grumps video, Billy? That's the one, Will. There's like a Super Mario 64 video, and he's like, they spend literally, because that's back when they had like 15-minute episodes or whatever. Literally, they're on like minute 13, and like, they'd spend the entire episode just like riffing off of like, or like telling a story off of one joke that Aaron made at the beginning off of something like totally irrelevant. Like, I don't even remember what it was. Macaroni, that's it. And so then Danny was like, what's your favorite episode of Game Grumps, Billy? Oh, I like the one where Aaron and Danny talk about macaroni for a long time. Something like that. But I've just been making that reference like without adding in the Game Grumps part for so long that I forgot that it was a Game Grumps reference. Talking about references, would you rather have unlimited bacon but no more games, or games, unlimited games and no games? What the fuck are you saying? Are you saying would I rather have unlimited bacon and no games, or unlimited games or no bacon? I don't know. Bacon's good, but like, I don't have a YouTube video talking about bacon, or a YouTube channel talking about bacon for that matter. Haya, here's the thing, Haya. That's kind of cheating. Screeches yiddishly. That one's a Schlot bit? Like J Schlot? Not a big I'm not a J Schlot connoisseur. Excuse me. He made it more famous recently. Gotcha. Speaking of 3D Blast, let's expand to like all of the YouTube. Who would say bacon? Who? Like, as somebody who digs bacon a lot. Who the fuck? You know what's an underrated Sonic game? Sonic Advance 3. I really wish there was like an expansion of that like concept. Like we need a Sonic Advance 3-2. We need more Sonic Advance 3 ROM hacks, because like the level design of that game is not great, but the mechanics kick ass. The joke is games but no games is correct, not an error. That's the second option. Oh, okay. Remember when Sonic had his little sidekick named Hedulad? I remember when he said, "Hey, I'm Hedulad." That feels vaguely familiar, but no, I don't know it off the top of my head. Games but no games, so just the AAA industry right now. That's fucking brilliant. I need to probably move this. Hold on. Let me move this. I need to go into studio mode for a second. Let me move the highlighted chat. What is it? So it's small display. And so it should be featured chat. Yeah, there we go. Let me move it into the corner. Okay, so now, yeah, it's in the corner now. That works better. I figured it was. That sounds That sounds like an Oni Plays reference. I need to see the new season of Smiling Friends. I need to invite Isaiah over. We need to watch Smiling Friends. Anyways, so guys, another thing I did and I'm really proud of. I can't really show any of it off today. I don't have any of it set up in a way that I can, like, I don't know, show it off or record or anything. But I found my grandpa's old PlayStation 2. I thought it was my PlayStation 2 that didn't work. So you guys remember the fat and the slim PS2s, right? Fat with PH, naturally. I had a, back when I got my first PlayStation 2, I obviously got the fucking thick with 2 C's version. And then that one stopped working when I was like, after like 2 or 3 years. And then I got a slim afterwards. So I raided my grandparents' house and my mom's house and all this for my old consoles. My grandma had my old Sega Genesis and my old PlayStation. Which I guess I could show that off. My Genesis was flying around here. Shit. Here's my old Genesis, chat. Here's the Genesis I grew up playing. It's like this is where it all began. With these cartridges, in fact. This is where it all began, chat. This is where it all began. Over 20 years ago. Anyways, my grandma had my old Genesis, my old PlayStation 1, and my mom had like my old PlayStation 2 and shit. So I get here and I break open the thick PS2. I turned it on and it worked, and I was like, I'm pretty sure my PS2 didn't work. And then I hit the eject button because it had a game in it, and a fucking like football game came out, and I was like, I didn't play sports, let alone sports video games. And I realized I was like, oh shit, my grandpa gave me his PlayStation 2 a long time ago, and I completely forgot about it. I knew I had his games collection, I knew I had his memory cards, but I completely forgot, and then he gave me his console, in fact. PS2 sounds too new for grandpa. He was hip. All right. My grandpa grew up kind of playing like first of all, my grandpa was fairly young for grandpa because my grandma is fairly young for grandma. He's technically my step grandpa. But like he was only in his, I think he probably would have been, so when the PS2 came out, he would have been like in his 40s. So, he grew up playing like Pac-Man and shit. And so he was like, up until around that age, he was still keeping up with video games every so often. And he was playing sports games and playing arcade type games. But then after around the PS2 era, he's like, yeah, video games aren't really for me anymore. So he gave me his PS2. So I realized I had his PS2. So if you don't know, the thick PS2 is generally more desirable these days, as it's easier to mod, and has fewer heat issues as far as I know, and has fewer The slim PS2s actually have a thing with the disk drive that actually scratches your discs as it gets older. And actually, some of my discs are scratched from a slim PS2 that has that problem. So I took his... I did a complete strip down of his PS2. I took the whole thing apart, partially because the battery was dead. I knew because the clock was stuck on like January 1st, midnight of the year 2000. And it was just locked there. So it's like, okay, I'm going to replace the watch battery, and see if I can replace that. But it turns out in the thick PS2s, to get to the fucking battery, you literally have to take the entire console apart. You have to take literally everything out. Disk drive, power supply, everything. So I was like, well, shit, I may as well do that and then clean it out, because my grandpa was a smoker. And back then in the United States, people smoked in their houses all the time. So there's a lot of like just like fucking cigarette gunk, just tobacco and secondhand smoke gunk all up in that PS2. So I went ham with the isopropyl, and cleaned the sumbitch out, and got a free McBoot memory card, a free memory card boot memory card, which is essentially just a memory card that jailbreaks your PlayStation 2. And I got a fucking thing that the other reason to get a thick PS2 is because it has a hard drive thing. It has like an enclosure to hook up a hard drive, so you can just straight up like buy a little adapter that you put in just a straight up. I bought a terabyte SATA drive, and just and I got this little. My girlfriend has this Blu-ray player. It's just this tiny little Blu-ray drive that just hooks up through USB, and so I just started ripping all my PS2 games, and I put them on this hard drive. Now I can play my copies of PS2 games on my PlayStation 2 without scratching up my discs. I've luckily never had that happen, David. Though I have seen some horror photos. Like, I have seen some shit. You have one of the crappy at games ones. You mean this sick son of a bitch? If you guys don't know, At Games released this like mini Sega Genesis before like mini consoles were like a thing. And one of the cool things about it is that in addition to having some preloaded games, it actually has a little slot where you can straight up stick cartridges in. And it's fucking, it's really cool that it can do that. Also, pretty sure these are legit Genesis controller slots. So I'm pretty sure, actually, I wonder if the controllers that came with this actually work on Genesis. Problem with it was, it was a glorified Raspberry Pi turned emulator. It was not really legit hardware at all. It sucked. The audio on it is really shitty. Like, really shitty. Like, I cannot even begin to describe how horrible the music and sound effects are on it. Some of the later models of the Genesis already were known for having terrible audio, but like that was on a different level. And it was really cool back then to back when I got that one to be able to play my Genesis games, because I couldn't find, you couldn't just like find power adapters and shit like that for the Genesis just anywhere. I had lost the power adapter to mine, so it was the only way to play Genesis games back then, and it was terrible. It was terrible. But now luckily, you know, there's just, you can go to like a vintage stock or like a vintage store or a fucking game store, or just get them on Amazon. They sell like power adapters for Genesis 2 and things like that. So I got one recently, and now I play my Genesis. And now the goal is to get a thing where I can back up my own Genesis ROMs, because that would be really cool to rip the data off of my legit cartridges and not have to rely on other means. That'd be cool. I also just like, I enjoy, the one thing I enjoy collecting is retro games. I really want to get a cartridge. I've been playing a lot of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine lately. That game is my shit. I'd love to get a legit cartridge of that. That's like on my like the next time I fucking have actual like expendable income that I can just spend on myself and not for anything for content. That's what I'm gonna spend it on, basically. Of course, that game's not expensive. I just need to pull the trigger, basically. A game that is kind of expensive, though, that I'm looking for is one called Medieval, which is on PlayStation 1. I have it on PlayStation 3 from, like, the PlayStation 1 Classic store. But I don't have a physical copy of it. That game's, like, $80 or $90 to get a physical copy. And I've been visiting, like, every secondhand store in my state, basically, that sells PlayStation 1/Genesis games or whatever. Like older games, I should say, because it's a PlayStation 1 game. And I cannot find it anywhere. Like, that game is very rare. Can you summarize what was discussed about in You Should Be a YouTuber / artist / creator? I love this video. Why do you need me to summarize it? Isn't it there to be watched? Yeah, Medieval got a remake recently. Fairly recently. It's pretty solid, I think. But don't you game over on original console. They are really hard. Listen. Mama didn't raise no bitch. I grew up on game overing, okay? But also, I grew up on the level select cheat code. So. These days, game overing isn't a concern when it comes to the original Sonic games, at least for me. I have, David. But it's $150. That's the only holdup. I don't know how much it would cost to build one myself, but I also don't. I would have to buy soldering stuff, which I'm wanting to do anyway. I want to start working on last year I modded my guitar, this guitar. It has a special switch that turns it essentially turns its single coil pickups into humbuckers. But it's basically a 10-way switch instead of a 5-way switch. So you have like the standard 5-way pickup fucking configurations and then 5 more. I did all the soldering for that myself. Completely mucked it up. But still got it to work. It still works fine. But I want to eventually this guitar. It's off screen, so you can barely see it. Or it's dark red and almost off screen, so you can barely see it. But it's here next to the acoustic. Its pickups are going out, and I'm pretty sure it's an issue with the pickups because I've had it repaired and I've messed with the connections myself, and I cannot get it to work. Consistently, at least. It works for a while, and then it'll cut in and out. So I'm pretty sure it needs new pickups entirely. And I eventually want to just straight up replace with new pickups, and that would require soldering. So there's also maybe some mods I want to do. I'm also thinking about I want to get. So I bought a GH4. So this is a Panasonic GH5 that we're watching. Ooh. So I think that means somebody just followed on Twitch. But we don't have the Twitch alerts activated. So whoever just followed on Twitch, if you're watching the stream, thanks for following. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I have a GH4 I bought on eBay. Problem is that its HDMI port does not work. So I need to, in order to get it working and have it and have it to where we can actually have 2 cameras on stream again. Potentially, I want to do and actually I think I would probably put the camera over here. Have it face over here. There's more cool stuff over on this side of the camera. In order to get that working again, I would have to solder. I'd have to buy the replacement HDMI port, take apart the camera, and solder it in. So that's gonna be a project at some point, but I need to get some. I need to get some. I probably need to get another product going, in order to be able to afford that. Oh, to be a kid in '95 playing 3D Blast and genuinely thinking it was good. Listen, it probably was still mind-blowing as a kid. And it was probably still fun, you know. We didn't really have concepts of what good game design was back then, so. Probably would have been one of those things where it was like, it was fun while you played it and when you played it. And honestly, I still think this way about 3D Blast. I think it's fun when you played it, but like it's only when you try to like play it and replay it and replay it and replay it that I find you find yourself just gravitating toward the better games, you know. But hey, there are speedrunners that replay the shit out of 3D Blast. Like, people like that game. I mean, I read the description. The initial intention of the stream apparently was about it. That's my bad. It should have. I updated the description on my end. It should have been. Oh yeah, no, it straight up did not update. Strange. My bad. Yeah, sorry about that. I meant to update the description, but. But I mean, a lot of people plan to come in and talk about that video because I mean, it's the thing most people know me for at this point. So nothing wrong with talking about it, but you haven't really missed anything, I would say. Hey man, any advice for someone who just started video editing? Use DaVinci Resolve. Focus on learning how to do simple stuff. Focus on making simple projects. Learn one new thing and implement one new thing every video. That's my advice for someone who's just started video editing. I wouldn't even say buy my thing. I do in fact have a thing called the Editing Essentials Guidebook and Cheat Sheet for DaVinci Resolve. I won't even necessarily plug that, even though I kind of am now. But I won't say that that's necessarily for beginners. I kind of made it for people who are like not quite intermediate, not quite beginner. People who are like not total beginners, but have got a few edits under their belts and are wanting to like dive into more and really get into more. What do you say about making live streams on YouTube and use same channel for another type of videos? It can interfere on the algorithm. Before I have heard that streams on YouTube could make your channel shadow banned. It won't. Nothing can get your channel shadow banned, honestly. There is you can get your channel can be banned, but there's very little to get your channel shadow banned because of how the algorithm works. The YouTube algorithm here's the thing. It costs a lot of money to host one's videos, right? In order to get to just upload a 4K 60 FPS hour-long video on another site would cost a lot of money. So YouTube is incentivized to push your video out to as many people as it thinks is possible. The exception being at the expense of other videos on the platform. So it will do its best, generally speaking, to get your video as many views as possible. And what that means is, it's not going to shadow ban your entire channel just because you do something that like algorithmically is weird. It just doesn't work that way. Like it wouldn't make sense for it to be designed that way, and so they've not designed it that way. So here's the only kind of bit of data to support that. There is data to support that. So the reason people say niche down, people say turn off sending videos to subscribers, all this, is because the way YouTube videos like life cycle works is that you upload the video. It generally will get sent out to your subscribers because people have the bell notification turned on, have whatever. So it will, shout outs, Johnny. So YouTube's gonna push out your video, right? To your subscribers. And then once your subscribers watch it, among the population of your subscribers, there's gonna be people who are like similar to them. So like, let's say I put out a video on Jak and Daxter. It probably wouldn't perform as well as my videos on Sonic the Hedgehog, right? But there are some people who like Sonic and also like Jak and Daxter. So of my subscribers, the people who do like Jak and Daxter would be the ones to watch it. So after it was watched by all my subscribers, YouTube would then start pushing it to other people who like Jak and Daxter. The theory is, if you do things like live stream, or you don't niche down, or you don't have a particular topic on YouTube or whatever, and you've got a very diverse subscriber base, if you put out a video and then it doesn't do well amongst your subscribers, it won't do well at all, because like your video will be killed because YouTube won't know what to do with it. That's the idea. So that's why they say niche down. That's why they say, do a separate channel for shorts, do a separate channel for live streams. All that shit is just shit. I think it's all bullshit. I'm to the point now where it's like, literally just make the videos you want to make, and people like you are going to find them. Like, there is no, like Haya says it well. Trying to game the YouTube algorithm for SEO or for any sort of optimization is a completely losing battle. Like, yes, there are small things you can do to help your chances with the algorithm, but don't make videos for the algorithm. Make videos for people. And then if you make the best videos you can and you make them with certain people in mind, YouTube will figure out the rest. That is their job as the platform. Like, I didn't worry about, I'm like, a little bit of me was like, how the fuck, what's the fucking crossover between people who want to be YouTubers and people who see Sonic in the thumbnail and like are just want to watch Sonic videos? It's like, the audience for this, I was like, the audience for this video is not necessarily going to be massive. I'm just making this video because these are my thoughts. This is how I want to tie it in, is with Sonic. And this is the kind of video I want to make. I'm just going to put it out there, see what happens. And holy shit. Apparently, a lot of people like Sonic and a lot of people want to be YouTubers. So. Love your style of editing. That's a huge compliment. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. One of my first video game experiences was being 5 years old in '95 and breaking a friend's big brother's mom, begging a friend's big brother's mom to please, please let me play their Rogue Squadron in Nintendo 64. It lasted like 10 seconds. I was amazed. And now I spent like a bunch of money back when I had a day job on a VR headset and a flight stick and all that to play Star Wars Squadrons on VR. That shit was incredible. Is incredible. I still start it up and play it every once in a while. I'm a developer. Which Mega Drive game would you prefer to be remade with multiplayer feature? Huh. Prefer to be remade with a multiplayer feature. Let me peruse my library for a second. Okay, so one game I would like to see just get more attention in general is called Kid Chameleon. That game is super underrated. I think it would be really cool. It does have a multiplayer, technically speaking, but it's similar to Super Mario Brothers. It's like the first. It's like a Super Mario World, actually, where instead of actually being multiplayer, it's just you have two separate live pools and you just go through the same levels. You just take turns, basically. Something that sticks with me is that the guy behind AVGN never thought of himself as a YouTuber. To this day, he considers himself a filmmaker. I think that's interesting as well. He doesn't... To be a YouTuber is to inherently be part of, like, this like... I don't know, it's a difference in mentality, and it's a difference in community. You know, I consider myself a YouTuber because I converse and I interact with other YouTubers. I also consider myself a YouTuber because the act of making videos is what is fulfilling. Like there are people who are business people who run a separate business, or have their own like side hustle going, or an independent, you know, in whatever they do, whether they're artists or of a different kind, like musicians or graphic designers or like graphic artists. Or they're game designers, game creators, or they're just gardeners or people who like to sew or crochet or whatever. And then they use their YouTube as a vehicle for their business. Those are an entirely different kind of people. And then there are people who are like, to be a YouTuber is something different entirely, and that's more like the angry video game nerd. YouTube is just a vehicle for him, despite videography still being his primary business, you know? But he also predates YouTube a lot. YouTube became the vehicle after he was already a filmmaker, you know? It's the same thing as Rooster Teeth, or similar story to Rooster Teeth, where they were already kind of in the business of online video, and then YouTube just became the primary vehicle for it. And so now there's an entire generation of people who can't imagine making or having a life or a business or a creative outlet for online video that doesn't incorporate YouTube in some way. It's like entirely different. It's literally a generational thing. It's kind of insane. And of course, there's also like, you know, a pretentious level of like, oh, to be a YouTuber is to like sink to a low level and be a filmmaker. Like that's prestigious, you know. And I don't necessarily think the nerd is like that, but there are definitely people like that. Another banger from 3D Blast. Yeah, the issue with having anything independent as far as video hosting goes is that you're fighting a losing battle when it comes to getting eyes on your stuff. Depending on like whose eyes you want on your stuff, right? It's like if you want to get sort of like if you want to get like-minded people watching videos on a particular topic, there's really no better way to do it than YouTube. It's not that there's necessarily no other way to do it than YouTube. It's just that the other ways to do it are significantly more difficult in just, you know, ways that aren't necessarily worth it. I don't know that the CEO change had much to do with it, but I do feel like we're having a culture shift. But even Nebula, Haya, the creators on Nebula, people aren't like just like learning about Nebula that have never watched YouTube or like aren't YouTube watchers and just learning about Nebula and then going to Nebula and finding these creators. Like they're learning about these creators through their YouTube videos. And then they're learning about Nebula through the essentially sponsored YouTube channels that or YouTube videos that these guys are doing, and then they're moving over to Nebula to see their favorite creators, right? The same thing with exclusive videos on Ko-fi, exclusive videos on Patreon, exclusive videos on my site. It's YouTube is still the discovery vehicle for an off YouTube thing, you know. And that's really how every business essentially that uses YouTube is taking advantage of YouTube right now. You know, like I'm a YouTuber, but really like my primary money is not through ad revenue or YouTube memberships or things like that. It's through third-party stuff. Actually, they're pretty comparable right now. Since I'm actually making quite a bit in ad revenue off of that one video. But excuse me. It's on a sustainability basis, like building a membership off platform is like the way to go. And so, but I definitely agree. I am seeing, you know, much more small channels and things. But basically, Johnny, what I'm seeing is that the algorithm is getting better at not killing videos just because they don't do well with somebody's like subscriber base. Like if I put out a video and it doesn't do well with you guys, YouTube doesn't give up on finding an audience for that video. It just says, okay, we'll try some other people first before we give up on it. And I think there's been a culture shift on people are realizing that they don't really like super produced videos. And I think lower production value is being valued more, actually. And authenticity is being valued more. And where do you get lower production value and authenticity? You get it from smaller channels. Honestly speaking. And honestly, I was a small channel that had high production value. And I didn't get near the views or near the engagement that I get from my lower production value stuff. What does that tell me? That tells me that no matter how big I'm going to get, I'm going to keep the production value the same. Or I'm going to adapt it to whatever people want at the time, but... Or I'm going to honestly adapt it to whatever I'm feeling at the time, but... But yes, Susan, what's her face, left as CEO, and there was a CEO change. But honestly, I think we're just seeing things play out in real time. Like, I think the dominoes have to get us where we are today have been falling for quite some time, and the CEO change was maybe just part of that. And I don't think we're at the end of the domino line. I think we're going to see it continue to fall. One of the guys that survived until now is a YouTube channel like Old Way of Doing Videos with Scott the Woz. I disagree, actually. I don't think Scott was one of the older YouTubers that had an old way of doing things that has survived. I think Scott was one of the pioneers of the new YouTube channel and has continued to push the envelope into what's possible, what's great, what's awesome. There's very few people now that I've learned more about ego, and I've learned more about disconnecting from it, and I've learned more about not being just like jealous of other people and comparing myself to others. There's very few people on the platform that I like sincerely envy. Scott is one of them. Scott the Woz is up there. Especially because I identify with him so strongly, and because he reminds me so much of myself, despite actually being younger than me. He's one of those that he's an extremely hard worker, has fought incredibly hard to gain everything that he's gained. Continues to be humble, continues to push the envelope, and has gotten all the success that he deserves from it. And it's like, man, what more could a guy ask for? That would be sick. That would be sweet. I don't even think they do the YouTube Rewind anymore, don't they? This is true, Will. This is true. To be fair, though, I do think Scott and I do actually look alike. His teeth are whiter and his hairline's better, but I do think we actually do look somewhat similar. Yeah, I'm not saying that I don't get past my envy of Scott the Woz. I'm not just sitting around all day being like, I wish I had everything Scott the Woz has, you know. It's more just a thing that I look at him and I'm like, wow, I wish that was my life. Like, hard to say I don't when it's something that I'm striving for, you know. But then I mainly just use it as a joke in most of my I'll call myself Great Value Scott the Woz and shit like that in different videos, just as self-deprecation. I'm doing well, Federico. Another banger. 3D Blast is full of them. Both soundtracks. 3D Blast is like CD in that there's two soundtracks and both of them are fucking full of bangers. The Saturn soundtrack is kind of like the US the Sonic CD US soundtrack in that it's underrated and people kind of sleep on it. But it's just as good as their alternatives. Oh, I'm already there, Azul. I'm basically already there. I look at Scott the Waz and I'm like, man, that life would be great. I wish I had that life. And then I also look at my own life and I'm like, man, I'm happy with this life. Because Scott's the same way. Scott has his own ambitions and his own things that like, because that's just being human. You know, we're never satisfied, right? We're never like, okay, that's it. I'm done now. But then also keep going. Like you're either done or you're not, right? Like Matt Pat's like, I'm done. I've achieved everything I want to achieve. I got the platinum trophy. I turned the game off. Like, you know? And he has. And so he's like, I'm gonna go fucking right off in the sunset, spend some time with my son. Cameo in more probably fucking Five Nights at Freddy's films. Ugh. 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 Give more video games to the Pope. Yep. I wanted to get into Blender at the beginning of this year to start learning about animation, but Unreal Engine 5 looks very promising and maybe more hand-holdy. Okay, but what stopped you from getting into Blender? And what has since stopped you from getting into Unreal Engine 5? Well, so Zeku, I think, or Zeku, I keep forgetting. I believe it's Zeku, right? What do I mean? I think when I watch a Scott the Waz video, it's like, wow. This video came out. So like okay, let's just go to Scott the Waz channel. Let's figure this out. What do I mean?
Hey y'all.
So obviously there's the obvious stuff. Like he's got 1.91 million subscribers. He's got not just the silver play button, but the gold play button. Like, yes, it would be cool to have 2 million subscribers, right? But like, that's like extremely like surface level and like nebulous, you know? More it's that like, yes, these videos take like a month. Like he spends like sometimes a month in between these videos, right? But they're like over an hour long, some of them. Some of them are up there. He basically makes... Here's the thing. He makes the videos that he wants to make. Like, none of these topics feel like things like that like he made for a sponsorship or that he made because it's like topical and like new and like he's trying to like go off of like what's popular. No, he just makes... He's like, I'm gonna spend 25 minutes talking about Sonic 3D Blast because I feel like it, and then he gets 1.2 million views. Like, that would be pretty sick to just talk about Sonic 3D Blast because I feel like it, and then get 25 million views, right? And even though he spends like a month on these videos, he still... These videos are... It would take me more than a month. It would take me like 3 to make a video to the quality that he gets in a month. And it would be half the length. He has so much wheat. I can't imagine how much chaff he has, but he gets so much wheat out of his videos. And like I watch them and it's like, wow, this is effortlessly funny in a way that like even if I put all of my brain power and intention into being, I would not be as funny as this video. Like he comes up with jokes where I'm like, I will never come up with a joke that's as funny as that. And that's like you know, that's like, that's rough. Sometimes it can be rough, I guess. Maybe not even rough. It's just like, wow. It's just like something I have to accept, you know, or I come to accept in a way. But like, I have no intention of like becoming the funniest person on the platform, and I have no like ambitions on like becoming just like known for being like just super duper funny. But like, it feels good to be funny. It feels good to make people laugh. So like, I wish I could make more people laugh and make people laugh more consistently, more often, you know? Hard to say I don't. You're welcome, Federico. Motivated me to beat those OG games for the first time, including getting Chaos Emeralds, taking a break from Sonic 2 Death Egg Zone for food. Shoutouts to you, John. Good luck with the Death Egg Zone. This is very true, Planta. This is very true. Do you think humor is a skill that can be practiced or muscle to be strengthened? Yes. To a certain extent. Humor, there is definitely an art to humor. There is an art to crafting a joke. There's an art to being funny. It is a craft that can be improved upon. But it is also completely, but it is an art also in that it is subjective, you know? So it's difficult to really say that it's not, see, it's not a muscle that can be strengthened, because a muscle is something that, like, if you put a muscle under stress, it gets stronger. Like you lift weights, you get stronger. It just, there is no like subjectivity to it. With few exceptions, if you go and you lift weights, you will become stronger. The problem with humor is that you can try to become funny, and you aren't necessarily guaranteed to be funny. You know? I've like taken like improv classes. You know, I've been improving my writing. I just generally attempt to you know, live more and have more experiences, have more to draw upon. A lot of humor is being able to make connections, actually, is actually pattern recognition. A lot of humor is actually is being able to look at one thing and be able to compare it to something else in a way that's new and makes people laugh, you know, and makes people think of things in ways they wouldn't otherwise think of them. And that's a lot of how I like to look at the world, you know, and that's a lot of how I bring value to my videos is you know, my mom has always told me that I have a very unique way of looking at the world, right? And so I try to leverage that, whether it be as humor, whether it be for the purpose of humor, entertainment, or education. I think that's a very valuable skill. And so really that's what I try to develop. It is definitely about the target audience. Part of it is that my girlfriend finds nothing funny. And she is not one to pity laugh. So, 8 my chat again. Yeah, it is. Hi, I'm not seeing your chats come through. I even have it set to. Oh wait. Yeah, so if I do live chat, I can see your messages, Haya, but not for top chat, and that's how this chat sorts. This chat sorts. through top chat instead of live chat. But yeah, so essentially, whether it's on stream or in my videos or what, I just I tell jokes and I make jokes and I write jokes that make me laugh. And then, like, well, if they make me laugh, they'll make somebody else laugh, right? Because I'm not unique. I don't know. That's a great question, David. I really don't. There might be within this little chat widget that I have. There might be. But on YouTube side, I don't know. I do too, Planta. But I specifically set it to where live chat should be the default. But maybe I fracked that up. I don't know. Add the K. Add the K. As a reminder to everybody, if you want to support the content, you can, of course, become a member on YouTube. But the best way to support the content is actually to become a member on neatontheRocks.com. There's also a couple different products there that I sell to help you guys in your content creation or like just cool stuff that I want to sell. And those are the best way to support the channel. Visit neatontheRocks.com today. Something like that. I need to fucking record like a fucking sarcastic ass like ad type video to say all that shit for me because I always feel awkward plugging it. But that's one of those things that I've been talking about making for a long time. I never get around to it. Just because the idea of recording an ad is fucking, I don't know, it's just never something that I want to spend my time doing. Speaking of, I'm thinking about how much I want to say, but yeah, it's fine. We're on a live stream. People aren't going to fucking dig through this live stream to figure this shit out. That would potentially hurt me, but what is going on with Haya, first of all? Honestly, getting into all the reasons Hogwarts Legacy would suck would take a while. The big one is that creators are using her money to fund far-right bigots. Is it references to the far right? Is it the word bigot? YouTube is in the pockets of big J.K. Rowling. Anyways, so speaking of recording ads, I turned down a sponsorship recently. I had an offer from a very well-established company. They hit me up before I left for Europe and were like, hey, homie, we want to set you up for like a long-term partnership. And I was like, me? And I met with their like partner manager, and I know, and I was, I confirmed through third-party sources that it was all legit. Like it was definitely them. And they did in fact want to partner with me, and they were gonna set me up with a decent partnership. Let's just put it that way. I don't know how much I'm really supposed to discuss or really allowed to discuss. But it would have been a situation where I would have been I really don't know how much I should share, how much I can share, but it would have been really good money. Let's put it that way. It would have been enough money that I could have made basically whatever videos I wanted and not have to do client work, not have to work a day job, not have to really do anything else. Just based off of this one partnership. And it would be a long-term partnership that would continue however long. and I turned it down. Because despite the fact that they were offering me a lot of creative freedom and a lot of freedom in the way that I integrated their shit into my videos, the product itself was not one that I could put my belief in, and not one that I could authentically back. I was reading all the other integrations from other creators, very well-established creators, a lot of respectable creators, a lot of creators that I do in fact respect, and reading their integrations and looking into their integrations, reading their landing page and things like that. That was part of this partnership. And all of them said this product was my secret to achieving XYZ. And I was like, but it wasn't though to me. Like that, it wasn't that for me, and it wouldn't be that for any of you, because the secret to how any of you achieve anything that you guys achieve is because you did it, right? It's not because of something you can buy, you know, like. And it's not even necessarily that the product was bad, although, yeah, it's not even, yeah, we'll just say that. It's not even necessarily the product was bad. It was just something that, like, I was like, I can't put my backing behind this, you know? And honestly, it was something that I was like, after some of the things that I've said, and again, I don't want to disparage I don't want to disparage anybody or anything, so I'm trying to be careful with my words. Based on some of the things you guys know about me and the things that I've said in my videos, it would go against some of the things that, it would go against some of the things that I stand against, we'll say, you know. Some of the tools made use of technologies that maybe aren't always you guys get what I'm saying. So it was something that was like, I don't think I would be able to sleep at night if even though it was, you know, I have nuanced takes on stuff in those realms. And like, you know, being associated with something that has bad press isn't always necessarily mean that it's a bad product, but it was definitely, the more I read into it, the more I saw how it was being plugged, it was just like, this is not, I was like, speaking purely from an objective standpoint, I risk alienating a lot of my audience by essentially subverting what I said in another video by showing support. Even if I took the creative liberty and they were willing to work with me to be like, hey guys, this is not the part that I'm really like pushing. This is just part of it. Here's this other thing over here that I'm interested in. It still would have not felt right. So I sat down with my girlfriend. I was like, am I stupid for not taking this partnership? And she was like, no, you're not stupid. You just got to do what you got to do. And so I left all that money on the table. And I didn't do it to brag. I didn't do it to come back and brag to you guys. I didn't do it because, you know, to earn more cred. You know, I'm not going to make a video like, you know, I'm not taking any sponsors. And to be clear, guys, I'm going to skip ads right now because that'd be ironic. I'm not against taking sponsorships. Like, I will eventually take sponsorships on this channel. And if another company that is less aligned with those things, or even if this company comes back and is like, hey, we have this other thing that doesn't have this stuff going, and we want to push it more like this. Like there is a world where I work with that company in the future. But I told the guy, I was like, timing's just not right, and this just isn't right. It's just not a good fit. He was like, I totally understand. So it's one of those things where like I'm in a place where I've got other opportunities and I've got my own products that I'm selling on the website, and you guys are buying them, and you guys are joining the memberships, and you know, I'm trying to be responsible with money for the most part. Bought a new PC, but I'm trying to be responsible with money. Trying to take care of what I need to take care of. And even though I'm trying to establish something, you know, really permanent and really solid income, so that I can start, you know, looking towards, you know, building a family, things like that. You know, I'm not getting any younger. It just, I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night if I had taken that deal, and I probably would have hurt a lot of my credibility in the audience that I've established. So I was like, yeah, not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. So I left that money on the table. And I was like, I guess I'll, you know, see what else comes up. But definitely a formative experience. Because it was one of the first, I mean, it's probably the first, I've had a few people email my business email since that video, has gone viral. I've gotten a few people in my email, but it's all been very sketchy, very like clearly not legit stuff. It was probably the first real legit, like any sort of sponsorship offer or anything like that I've really gotten. And it was like a set for not necessarily life, but like a set for a long time, potentially sort of offer. So to leave that on the table and to walk away from that, it actually feels really empowering, because it's like now I know I've proven to myself that I'm not going to sell out. Like it's not even really necessarily about proving it to you guys. It's about proving it to myself that like I don't have to worry about my own integrity. Basically, I don't have to worry about making compromises like that, because that was like that's pretty much the highest a temptation can get. Like objectively, yes, I could be offered more money, but like honestly, not. I don't know how much of a greater effect it could have. But honestly, the contract itself was not. It did not seem super predatory. Will. It was you know, the partner manager that I spoke to really encouraged me to read it over. He said some people sign it the second I hand it over to them, and it makes me really nervous. So I really encourage you to read it. And I was like, I appreciate that. And I gave it. I read every word. And I read over the whole thing, and there was a lot of stuff in there about creative freedom. He actually lowered the requirements for how many engagements I needed to do. He said, based on your upload rate, we'll do this many in this amount of months instead of however many per month, which was very kind. And since there were reasons he was able to do that, we'll just say. There was things about exclusive. It was an exclusive deal, but like I'm not exactly sure what that exclusivity entails. We didn't get that far. But honestly, even if it was an exclusivity deal where I couldn't take other sponsorships basically at all, it still would have been a really good deal. there was a clause in there that I could with 30 days notice end the partnership early, and with basically no penalty. So it was a really solid contract. Like it was perfect in every way, except that it was a product that I could not bring myself to, which made it was the perfect test of my integrity to myself. I used DaVinci Resolve. That is my go-to. That will always be my recommendation. Unless Blackmagic Design really fucks some shit up. It is DaVinci Resolve all the way. So, anyways, I didn't think I was going to share that publicly, all of that information. But this is a live stream. Yes, this live stream is going to remain up, but like potential brands that will hear that I turn down another sponsorship and then get scared and not offer me another sponsorship, like they're not going to be going through these live streams. So like, I'm not worried about it. I don't think it's going to professionally damage me at all to talk about this stuff publicly, but I just missed all that public info. It's all right. Don't worry about it. What do I think about Grand Theft Auto 2? I've never played it. I've played 4, 5, a little bit of San Andreas. That's it. Actual best 3D Sonic game. Unironically, SRB2 is in probably my top 3 3D Sonic games. Probably my top 5 Sonic games, honestly. SRB2 is poggers. Yeah, they were top down. GTA 1 and 2. They were. I do remember that. I've only ever seen gameplay of them. I don't think I've ever played them. Oh, I have played a little bit of, I think I played a little bit of Vice City on PSP. I think a friend of mine had it and let me play it some. That's it. I know why. I also did not have a good time with Sonic Superstars, and I do know why. I made an entire video about why. Play anything different recently? Been mostly playing PlayStation 2 classics. Been mostly playing games on PlayStation 2. I've of course been playing some CS, some Counter-Strike. I've been playing Puyo Puyo Champions on I'm playing Puyo Puyo on Steam. I essentially will just load into endurance mode on here. I've been trying to get the high score. I've been like trying to beat my subsequently beat my high score on Mean Bean Machine more. I find that more addictive than just booting up Puyo Puyo Champions, but objectively speaking, I think Puyo Puyo Champions is the better gameplay experience. How difficult do you think it is for new creators to have their first upload perform well, assuming that it's a high quality video? I don't think it's difficult at all. Hot take. The problem is in that assumption. The assumption that it's a high quality video is a large leap, you know? Because I mean, before let's take a look. Honestly, let's take a little stroll. Speaking of this song from SRB2 Smacks, 800 views, 600 views, 1.5k views, 700 views, 94,000 views. I'm gonna actually turn off the chat for a second here. You guys are all on YouTube. We don't have Twitch going, so that's it. I don't need to have on stream chat going necessarily, but you can see in the hundreds of views, and then in the very high tens of thousands of views, almost 6 digits of views, with basically nothing established beforehand. Yes, I had some other videos on this channel that I privated that were even lower view than this, but like they were even lower view than this. So like whatever. So yeah, if you post a high quality video and it's got a high quality title, high quality thumbnail, it's gonna pop off. It doesn't matter if you post it on a dead channel, on a living channel, on a whatever channel. The problem is that you are guaranteed nothing. So just because this video did 94,000 views, and then I replicated it and got 95,000 views by doing it a second time, I went and I made a third one. This is a trilogy. This video, these are a trilogy. It's literally 94,000, 95,000, 9,000. A factor of 10. 10 times as many people have seen each of these videos as have seen this one. Despite this video taking more effort and honestly being probably better in many ways. And then immediately, like, I go to making other videos, hundreds of views, hundreds of views, hundreds of views. Potentially, you know, almost 10,000 views, pretty good, hundreds of views. 425,000 views. Absolutely fucking obnoxious number of views for my channel size. Obnoxious is, there needs to be a word beyond obnoxious. Obnoxious double plus obnoxious number of views for my channel size, okay? I went from having, I was at 2,000 subscribers before I made this video. I was at like 2.2k. And that was like a hard fought 2.2k. Now I have 9 times as many subscribers thanks to this video alone, basically. So it honestly, you post a really good video, it doesn't matter how big your channel is, truly. You could post that anybody who's like, oh man, I'm shadow banned, I'm being blackballed by the algorithm. It's honestly, it's not the algorithm's fault. That being said, the value of a video is not in its view count. Yes, I do happen to think this is probably my most valuable video I've ever made. Just so happens that it happens to be the highest amount of views. But this video, my Can You Beat Sonic Frontiers Without Leveling Up? I think it's a way better, it's a more artistically engaging. I think it's more entertaining. I think it's more interesting. And I think it has more variety than either of these two videos. And yet it underperformed by a factor of 10. So it's really not, you're not entitled to anything. You're not entitled to views. You're not entitled to people watching your shit. All you can do is post videos. You know, honestly, same thing here. Like 425,000, but the second one has 34,000. The third one has 10,000, you know? Like it's not just a matter of time, because these were actually pretty close together. It's that these two aren't as valuable, and that's just the way that it is. And then there's Cool Details and Secrets in Sonic 1, and that has 137,000 views. If I did a Cool Details and Secrets in Sonic 2, it'd probably have 13,000 views. If I had to guess, 30,000 probably at the most. So. And then, you know, 3 weeks ago, I posted my PC build. Fucking 28 minutes of a white boy fucking making a total fool out of himself. 833 views. That's fine. Only 1 out of 18 of my subscribers, 1 out of 19 of my subscribers thought this was cool. And that's being generous. I mean, that's assuming every view has been from a subscriber. Like, no big deal. Who cares? Not me. Like, Did filming this make the process a whole lot more difficult? Was editing this video just the most like rewarding thing ever? No, but I'm extremely proud that I made this video because this was a really cool video to make, and now I have fucking video proof that I have what it takes to fucking build a computer, which was something that I was really like worried that I didn't have what it takes to do. I think that's neat. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. Best media is media whose target audience is like 20 weirdos. I agree. One of my favorite videos of yours, SMH, was such a fun watch. And you know what? Every comment has said that. Everybody who's commented on this video is like, man, this video was really fun. And I'm really glad you made it. And I'm really glad to have watched it. And it inspired me to build my own computer. Like, yeah, it didn't have like fucking... It didn't like make people cry and like have people being like, this changed my life like this one did. But was I ever gonna have every fucking video be life changing? Like, fuck no. So the very first thing I did is upload 2 other videos that I knew were going to underperform. I noticed I didn't do a follow-up video immediately. I had these 2 other videos already in the pipeline. And in fact, I had kind of abandoned them both. This one I started like basically as soon as Superstars came out, and it took me like 6 months to make. This one I recorded like a year before, like actually now almost a year ago. So like 10 months, this video was just kind of chilling on my hard drive, with just like a few hours of editing needed to complete it. And I finally just like pulled through and completed it. And yeah, it has 1.2K views, but like, who cares? I fucking completed it. I finally did it. I did the thing. So, and then after, that was weird. And after posting these 2 that I knew weren't going to do as well, which actually the Superstars review actually did a lot better than I thought. Then I post the follow-up to the banger. And then I did 2 other videos that are kind of off the beaten path. One of them fucking is popping off in its own right. 137,000 views. This would be, so including all of my client work, including clients that have hundreds of thousands of views, or sorry, hundreds of thousands of, over 100,000 subscribers. This would still be my most viewed video that I've ever worked on ever, if it weren't for the video, just 4 videos before it, that is still 4 times as many views. So then, I'm getting, so for the Sonic philosophy videos, I'm doing like 2 videos in between. Is kind of my been my pattern. I've got this video, and then I've got another video in the works before the Sonic 3 video, and then I'm gonna probably do 2 more videos, and then do the Sonic and Knuckles video, and then do 2 more videos, do the Sonic Mania video, etc., etc. So, anyways, enough talking about myself. Obligatory reminder to rewatch it. Well, just hold on, Yagamikan. My goal is to, so after the Sonic 3, the Sonic and Knuckles, the Sonic Mania, after the Sonic Mania video, however many videos come before Sonic Mania, after the Sonic Mania video, which is supposed to tie all the ones before it together, just as Sonic Mania did, I'm going to compile them all into one video that's going to be one, just like, you know, at this point, it'll be over an hour already. Yeah, so it's going to be just like 1 2-hour, 2.5-hour video. That's just going to be one continuous like journey through the different Sonic games, talking about all this different stuff. So that'll be your time to rewatch it. I kind of want to get back into music production. I've been chilling now for a while after putting that album out, putting that soundtrack out. But now I want to get back into making music. But I don't know. I just have so much going on right now, and no real music is like really calling out to me that needs to be made, you know. But how long does it take me to edit a video? It depends entirely on the video. This video, the Can You Beat Sonic Frontiers Without Leveling Up? That's probably the longest it's ever taken me to edit a video. By the this video, specifically the especially like the montages and shit, where you have these like comic book panel type things going on. These took a very long time to make. Especially, that's a cool shot. This is the best one though, right there. Oh, I love that shot so much. So cool. Making these was, it took a while. Let's just say that. This video probably took a solid month. Yeah, premiered in January. I think it was recorded in November. So it took a solid month, and in that month, I mean, I was really working. Like I was editing day in and day out. Still not even 10,000 views. And now a level 1 run of Sonic Frontiers is like now a feature, like in one of the difficulty settings. So like it's not even really a thing anymore. Like it's not even really an interesting video concept anymore. But that was gonna be my next thing. The You Should Be a YouTuber, that I edited that in an afternoon. In fact, for both the second and third video, the Sonic 2 and the Sonic CD video, both of these videos were filmed and edited in a single day. So like I wrote them, so I pulled, so if you guys don't know, I actually script these videos out. It's one thing not authentic about them, I guess, is that they're actually pretty much one-to-one scripted. I take a lot of liberties with the script, because one of my main things is I write how I talk so that I can talk how I write. And so that I can speak, when I speak about these things, I'm not just fucking rambling on like I am on stream. Because if you guys notice on stream, I fucking ramble. It's very hard for me to stay on one topic. I do a lot of ums. I do a lot of fucking forgetting what I was talking about. And if I just sat down, and honestly, shout outs to everybody who's like made kind of a copycat video. It's incredibly flattering, but a lot of the copycat videos that come out, well, I just mean, Haya, that these videos come off as though I'm just playing a game and just speaking off the top of my head. Like that is definitely the impression a lot of people get, and it's honestly what I was going for, but it's scripted. Is why it feels is why it's potentially not authentic. But it's shit. But like for example, in a lot of the copycat videos that have come out, a lot of people are posting like they'll just boot up Sonic or a game that they like, and they'll do kind of a similar thing where they're like, I saw this video and inspired me to make this one and all this. But a lot of it is them rambling. A lot of it is them talking in circles. A lot of it is them being like, yeah, so yeah, and like things that I do, like I'm not criticizing them for doing, but it's the reason I was like, I've got to avoid that by scripting it. And so I essentially, and that's part of why I chose Sonic as well, because what I basically do is I open up OBS. I've got the screen capture going, which means I've got the little OBS preview window, and then I have the preview window taking up half my monitor. I've got Sonic playing on this monitor, but then on the other half of my monitor, in between the recording feed and the actual gameplay, I have the script. And so basically, out of the corner of both eyes, I can see the gameplay, but my eyes are actually reading the script. Which is why everybody's like, wow, dude, you suck at Sonic 1. I'm like, I don't. I'm actually playing with basically blindfolded. I can see enough to know what's going on, and I can hear what's going on, but I'm basically not looking at the game. I'm looking at my script and reading from my script. And sometimes I will pause the game and pause for a moment in the recording, and I will read a line, and I will understand a line, and I'll practice a line, and then I will unpause, and then I'll play the game while I basically deliver the line. But at any given point in time, I'm essentially on autopilot in Sonic, and I'm reading from a script, or I'm on autopilot saying the script and giving the performance of the script and playing the game. There's also a reason I have no face cam, because trying to be on and trying to be expressive and emotive and not look like I'm reading from a script, impossible. Physically impossible. That is one too many things for my brain to handle. I would explode. So yeah, the secret is I actually script it out. But since they're scripted out, so writing the script, to answer your question about how long it takes me to edit them, writing the script takes several days, because it's a lot of material, to get 30 minutes out or 18 minutes out. That takes a fair amount of material, especially because I talk fast. So it's a fair number of words. And I edit the scripts, I get them down, I make sure I'm saying what I want to say. Because a lot of it actually is just me kind of spitballing and then kind of condensing it down. So that takes me a while. But then I wake up in the morning, I eat breakfast, or I do whatever. I start my day, and then I open up Sonic, I open up OBS, and I record the video. And then I go eat lunch, or I do whatever, and then I come back and I edit the video, and I post it that afternoon. Like I edit them same day. Dude, thank you for that video, by the way, because I just finished a challenge and I've been chewing through the VODs. That sounds awesome, Grand Optimist. Way to go. Okay, this is a really great question. What do you think of just making random long form content and expecting to hit it big? Do you think it's possible? So, is it possible to hit it big off of random long form content? Yes. That's not what's interesting about the question, though. The issue is with expecting to hit it big. Expectations do one thing and one thing only: set you up for disappointment. There is no greater danger to your motivation, no greater danger to your mental health. No greater damage to no greater threat to like everything that you want to achieve than expectations. And honestly, expectations really are just a symptom of attachment. And really, attachment is the problem, but that's a whole rabbit hole. Speaking just on a surface level, the expectations is the hard part. I would never, ever in my life make random long-form content and expect to hit it big. Honestly, I don't really make anything and expect to hit it big. That's still. But making something unconventional and expecting to hit it big, it's just like it's gonna burn you out really fast. Yeah, well said, cruise ship Carl. So, but I understand that that's not what you're asking. I'm not meaning to roast you. There's another issue, and that's with the word random. I think part of what has been really driving my channel lately, besides just the authenticity, is the intentionality, which goes hand in hand with authenticity. Random has this random has an air of unintention to it, you know? Like, abstract art is not just random, right? You don't just like throw paint literally randomly at a or you don't like generate a random assortment of pixels and call it art, right? Because it's not. Any painting you go to a museum and you see and it looks like a random just assortment of paint instead was a person, you know, with something that they had minimal control over, like, you know, slapping paint somewhere or like, you know, blobs of paint or whatever. But they had intention when they did it. They looked and they saw, they looked at the painting and they said, now I need to slap some red on there, or now I need to slap some blue. And that is where the art came in. There was intention there, even if it looked random, right? If you just kind of like go through and are just like making random, just like, I'm gonna play whatever game I feel like playing today, and I'm just gonna turn on stream and just see what happens, and like expect to make it big, you're not really setting yourself up for success. It's the intention for me has been like, what do I want to do? So like that you should be a YouTuber video, for example. I didn't just randomly choose Sonic 1. And I you know, the video kind of gives the impression that I just started up Sonic 1, hit record, and recorded some thoughts I was having that day. And it's very approachable in that way. But in reality, there's a shit ton of behind the scenes intentionality there. I wrote a script. I specifically chose Sonic 1. I tied Sonic 1 and its level design and its game design into the point I was making. I specifically recorded it in such a way that it feels like we're playing. I recorded it live and not just showed gameplay of Sonic 1 because I wanted the feeling of, you know, we're friends that are passing the controller back and forth and are sitting and talking about life while playing a video game. These were all intentional decisions that people in the comments pointed out are like, wow, this enhanced the experience so much. And those, you know, we as consumers, you know, when we go to the museum and we see the painting, we just see splatters of paint everywhere. We can take for granted the amount of intention that went into every decision, you know. So instead of, you know, again, Mo, I know you were not thinking this deep about how you worded that question, so I'm sorry for kind of picking you apart. But you know, if we think of making random long form content, I would instead say, make stuff with intention that you think is cool. Actually, I'll tell you something. I heard the other day. I almost ripped this off. I almost stole this because it was so good. But I just couldn't find a way to incorporate it like I did the Matt Colville quote, and I wasn't gonna straight up steal it. But there's a channel I really love called Thought Slime, and he talks about art being a poison. Art is a poison. I was like, what the fuck does he mean by that? He's like, literally, art is the type of stuff that you hold inside that you're like, I've got to get it out. I have got to get it out. It literally is like, I have to let it out. It is poisoning me until I get it out of my body. That is what like art is. And so I'm making the videos that I'm like, this needs to be in the world now. I need to make this video. And it turns out it's resonating with a lot of people. So, yeah. So make the videos that you literally will die if you don't make, or it feels like you'll literally die if you don't make, and search those ideas out and search those topics out, and then learn more about making videos. You know, I could never have given that much intention to a video without knowing how to craft a video and craft that kind of experience. That's why art is a craft. That's why artists train and practice, and why we value the art that somebody else makes when they splatter paint seemingly randomly at a canvas versus when I do it, because I'm just some guy and this person has really put a lot of it. When you improve at the craft, you are able to put more intention into it. You increase the ceiling for how much intention you can add. And it becomes more artistic by design. I feel that, Haya. I feel that. It's honestly part of why I almost didn't upload the Sonic Superstars review, because I actually didn't have that drive to make it. Sonic Superstars was so mediocre that I actually felt nothing about it. I had no feeling about it. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know, I really want to be a positive voice in the Sonic community sometimes. And a lot of people are bitching about Sonic Superstars and not really contributing to it constructively. And that became, you know, kind of the dharmic reason for putting that review out there. It's got 23,000 views. I think that's solid. That's more than I think it deserves. So pretty happy with that. Anyways, chat, this has been really good. This has been a fun stream back. Sorry about all those the technical difficulties at the beginning. Sorry that we didn't get to stream on Twitch. I definitely want to try the concurrent streaming next time, but I got to figure out my OBS shit. So we'll do that. But I'm getting pretty hungry. My dinner's almost ready. Got something cooking on the crock pot. So this was a really great stream back. Really happy with it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, I think we'll probably go ahead and call it a stream. And I will catch you guys later. Aw, but Seaside Hill came on. I gotta stay for Seaside Hill. Love this song. It's one thing I can never knock Sonic Heroes on. It's got a fucking amazing soundtrack. Possibly the best 3D Sonic soundtrack. Seaside Hill, Mystic Mansion, Hang Castle. Fucking very little tops those tracks. What I'm Made Of. You're welcome, Mo. Love you too. I really appreciate people coming in with questions and coming in with different stuff. I'm always happy to talk about, you know, those things, I guess. No problem, homie. Sorry that I have to go. Unleashed is up there. Unleashed is not my Unleashed OST is not my cup of tea personally. But it is definitely high quality. I can speak somewhat objectively as a musician myself. I can't say that as objectively as music can get. Unleashed's OST is really cool. I do also look like Point Crow. Yes, I know. Again, teeth whiter, eyes better, hairline better, but yes, I have been told that I do somewhat look like Point Crow. I've actually worked with Point Crow indirectly. We have a mutual friend. Oh yeah, I even said so. We have a friend in common that he's made videos with that I used to edit for. Essentially, there's a video of a race of like a speed run race between Point Crow and a creator named Alexandra Lin, and I edited that video. So I'm only one Kevin Bacon step away from Point Crow, I guess. I miss Alex's streams as well, but she's always so busy. It's tough, but I get it. I do get it. I don't know how regularly I'm going to stream, but now that I've got OBS set up and alert set up and all that, I definitely want to start streaming more often. I want to get kind of a setup going. I want to come up with a generic kind of title and thumbnail that I can use for live streams and just be able to just go live whenever I want on YouTube, and we'll do the multi-streaming and stuff. And then, you know, yeah, we'll do more streams, we'll do more videos, you know, keep it real, keep it fun, keep it real fun. Anyways, guys, we'll call it there. It's been a good stream. Thank you guys for coming out. I honestly didn't think this stream would do as well as some of the other streams we've done. But chat was popping off, and you guys have been great. So I really appreciate you guys. You know, subscribe to the YouTubes and become members on neonrocks.com and all that shit. Support the channel, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. And I'll catch you guys later.